Hello and welcome back to Studio Session. I'm Katherine and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Jumping right in with today's report. For reading, I'm back on to The Secret History. It's like a long book and the chapters are incredibly long, so it's not like I can read a chapter a night. Like usually when I read a book, I aim for like a chapter a night or so, but the way that the chapters are broken up, it's like there's like different like breaks in time, but the actual chapters are very long. So I've been struggling to get through the chapters, but I've been trying to read a good like 10, 15 pages a night. For eating, this isn't what I've been eating. This is what I want to eat. So many ice cream shops have reopened. I completely forgot. Lincoln Creamery reopened, I think, on April 1st. I'm pretty sure like the ice cream machine has been open. They make the most incredible banana cream pie ice cream. I love it so much. So I really want to go out and get ice cream soon. For playing, so as like a joke, I was playing Total Eclipse of the Heart on the day of the eclipse, and I posted something in my private story about like that song because there was the eclipse, but I forgot how good of a song that is. It makes me think of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie where they all have to sing that song in the audition for the play. It's just so nostalgic. So that is what I've been playing. I've been playing that song on repeat so many times. My sister is definitely being driven insane by it. For obsessing, I just love that the sun is out. Not so much today. On the day that we're recording this, it's actually really cloudy and rainy. But the sun has been out. It's been warmer. We had a super warm day yesterday. And I just love it so much. For recommending, I recommend that you go on through your social media apps and just unfollow people that don't inspire you. If you're constantly comparing yourself to someone on social media, just unfollow them. Easy as that. And finally, for treating, I don't know if it was the last podcast episode or the one before that, I mentioned that I really needed new phone cases because mine is gross. I did end up buying new phone cases. I just thought that was noteworthy. That's it for today's report, and let's jump into our main segment. I'm joined with Lucas for our main segment, and today's album review was another Lucas pick, and he chose Stick Season Forever by Noah Kahan. This is an alternative album and the newer version with the bonus tracks that makes it the Forever version was released this year in 2024. My favorite song on this album was You're Gonna Go Far. This is just such a cute song. Maybe it's just because I'm going off to college in a couple months, so it I don't know, it makes me think about packing up and leaving my loved ones, but it's such a cute song. I don't know. Amazing vocals. I love the tune, and it's such a fun one to sing. So You're Gonna Go Far is definitely my favorite.
For my favorite, I had to go with Northern Attitude, the Hozier version. I just thought the vocals on this one were very incredible, definitely stunning. The progression of the song I feel like is better with Hozier as opposed to the solo one. And I just wrote, Hozier's mythical voice hard carries this track. It's just a really good song and fits extremely well on the album.
While that one did not make my favorite or second favorite, I definitely agree with that statement. Incredible song. But my second favorite was the song Forever, which I think was one of the newer additions, if I'm correct. I just thought that his vocals really, really shined in this one. I remember hearing snippets of it on social media before it was officially released and being really excited, to hear the full one. I think the full version did not disappoint. It was a little different than what I expected, but I just really liked it. I thought it was a great kind of ending-ish to the album. It made it more cohesive, and I don't know, I love the song so much. So Forever was my second pick.
Yeah, Forever was definitely up there for me. This was I think there's 31 songs, so it was tough to get it down to 2. So shout out also to Drive Drunk with Post Malone and All My Love. But my second most favorite, I picked Everywhere Everything with Gracie Abrams. We just did her album. It was good. And here she really shines. I think it's a great compliment. I think Noah Kahan on this album especially did a great job of surrounding himself with people that match his voice. I just feel like the vocal work is incredible, and I feel like the chorus is exponentially better with Gracie Abrams. I remember the first time I heard this track, I was blown away. I still am to this day. So for that reason, it is my second most favorite.
My least favorite song on this album, I chose Halloween. I just didn't like this song very much. There was no apparent reason why I didn't like it. There wasn't one certain aspect that was oh, I hate this song. I just didn't like it. I don't know. It just wasn't really my thing. It was just kind of eh. I love Halloween, the actual holiday, so I was kind of expecting more for a song titled Halloween, but it was just kind of there for me. I don't know. I just didn't like it. Can't really tell you why, unfortunately. But yeah, Halloween was my least favorite.
For my least favorite, I picked Still. Just a somber, slow-moving track on this one. I thought I know we mentioned the MJ theory a lot, where it's the victim of a bloated album, but I feel like this is kind of a tier under those. I just didn't like it that much. There was a couple of tracks similar to it on the album, and yeah, I just feel like it is the worst of the collection here.
My underrated pick for this album, I chose Growing Sideways. I just love the lyrics in this one. I think that they're kind of like relatable to a lot of his audience. I mean, any song that says the words "spent my savings at a Lulu, now I'm suffering in style" has to be appreciated. Like that, I don't know. I love that line so much. I think it's so funny. But yeah, I like the message behind it. I just thought it was a well-made song. So "Growing Sideways" was my underrated pick.
My underrated pick for this album was "Come Over." I really like the main segments. I thought there's some parts, especially when he's in the chorus, just saying "Come over." It kind of sounded a little Bon Iver-ish, and I like that. And it kind of ties into the folk element he's got going on here. And yeah, just a very solid, underrated track.
So overall, I rated this album a 7.5 out of 10. I like this album a lot. I just thought it was a little too long. Like Lucas said, I think like 31 tracks. I think if he cut it down a little bit, it would have been better in my opinion. I don't know. I thought it dragged on a little too long. There were still so many incredible songs, so many amazing artist features. Like Lucas said, we got Gracie Abrams, Hosier, so many of my favorite artists that were on this album. So loved that. There were so many songs that I loved. I liked a couple. There were a couple that kind of I didn't love as much. So I felt like I couldn't really give it higher than a 7.5 because of all those reasons. I still really liked it though. Noah Kahan is definitely really, really talented. I will say, I do think he's slightly overrated. Do not flame me. Maybe it's just my personal preference, but I know some people are like, diehard fans of him, and I really like his music. I don't know, I can't fully get on board as much as some people. But still a really cohesive album that I definitely enjoyed.
Okay, I'd like to offer an anecdote. So I do kind of agree with the fact that he's a little overrated, but I also hard disagree because I just feel like his music is music you can play, and I don't think anyone would dislike it. I went to a accepted students day last weekend, and there was 17 of us in a room, and the woman, like the tour guide person, was like, "Okay, what should I put on?" And nobody answered, obviously, because nobody wanted to be there. But she was like, "Okay, I'll just put on Noah Kahan," and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, awesome." So I feel like he's got that mainstream appeal. He's not the greatest. His voice a little. I'm not quite fond of it at times. But honestly, this album's pretty good. It is bloated, but this is kind of the third edition. I believe it was Sixth Season, and then like the deluxe was Sixth Season, Will I'll Be Here Forever, and then Sixth Season Forever is like the third super deluxe. So rightfully so, being bloated. I gave it an 8 out of 10. A lot of great songs on this one. There is some misses, but I feel like the heights overcome the lows on this one.
This was definitely a good album to review. Noah Kahan is like so up and coming. He's just constantly putting out amazing stuff. So I'm glad that we got to review this album. That was it for our main segment, and let's jump into our next one. For our next segment today, we are back with another Playlist Essentials, and today's topic is nostalgic songs. You guys know I'm a sucker for nostalgic songs, whether it's like my really old throwback playlist, my early 2000s one, or just like my Disney playlist. I just love songs that remind me of my childhood. So for this one, I kind of focused on songs from like, I guess like the early 2000s. I mean, I was born in 2006, so kind of like 2009 upwards, I guess. I don't know, whenever I could begin to comprehend music. That's kind of what I went with. So my third place pick, I chose the song Wake Up Call by Maroon 5. I recently rediscovered this song. Maroon 5 has so many like bangers from kind of my childhood era. This song just reminds me of like being in a car ride in like the early 2010s. Just something about it. Maroon 5 made so many like radio bangers around that time period. So many, when I hear them, I'm like, oh, reminds me of my childhood. Yeah, so Wake Up Call by Maroon 5 is definitely a very nostalgic one for me.
So that was what I kind of did for mine. I just did 3 songs from my childhood. I'm around the same time frame. I think I'm like 2 months younger than Catherine. So it should be about the same. Now, I have to give a shout out to my dad's iPod. I've definitely mentioned it before, but it kind of was the only access I had to music for like the first 5-6 years of my life. So shout out to Pompeii by Bastille and High Enough by Damn Yankees, two dad iPod classics. But this is actually my third selection is a Miss Ready from Northern classic. This is Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. Every single gym class in elementary school, she would have this on. Big Michael Jackson fan. I just got to give a shout out. Very incredible song, obviously, as we know. And it just brings me back to hear it every time and brings back the good memories of when times were simpler.
My next song, this is a song, I think I might be this song's only listener. I can pretty much guarantee nobody listening has ever heard this song. Not because I'm not trying to be in the whole oh, it's so underground. I just genuinely do not think this is not a popular song. It may be I'm probably all of its streams on Apple Music. It is not a popular song. It's called Sugar Rush by a band or a singer, I don't know, called Cash. Who are they? I don't know. This is the only song I know by them. The reason this is nostalgic for me is because when I was little, I was big into those video creation apps. And I had one that it was off-brand. It was just a random one, and the only free song you could use on it without having to pay for the subscription was this song called Sugar Rush. It's just kind of an upbeat hyper pop song. It almost reminds me of something that would be in Wreck-It Ralph or something. It's not in Wreck-It Ralph, but just kind of that vibe. You know what I mean? So whenever I hear it, it's just instantly brings me back to my childhood when I was making these stupid videos with the crazy effects. Yeah, I guarantee you no one's ever heard this song. But Cash, I'm a big fan. So if you're listening, just know I'm still here to support you.
Okay, my next track is 7 Years by Lucas Graham. If you were around me the time this song was at its peak, you know how much I appreciated this song. I thought it was cool that the dude's name was Lucas, and this is just a good song. I could go bar for bar with Lucas here on this one. Just an all-timer from my childhood that I gotta give mention to.
I completely forgot about that song. Definitely such a good one. My top pick for nostalgic songs, I picked Some Nights by Fun. This song is just the epitome of a summer camp song, and I've never been to summer camp, but if I did go to summer camp, I feel this is the song that would play. I used to hear it all the time growing up. I distinctly remember in middle school, I'm pretty sure they used this song as the promo video for our Camp Borndale trip, so maybe that's why it makes me think of summer camp. It just reminds me of being a kid again. I don't know, it has a great chorus, and I just love the song so much. I think Fun is a really underrated band. I think they broke up years ago, but yeah, they put out some really good stuff. So Some Nights by Fun is definitely super nostalgic for me, and it is my top pick for this list.
Yeah, I think Some Nights went triple platinum on my dad's iPod, as well as We Are Young. My number one pick, if you were like me, watching all the I think it's actually Pixar, not Disney, watching all those movies, I know that you've got this song on your list. That would be Life is a Highway by Rascal Flatts from Cars. Man, I love Cars, always have, and, it just feels wrong to have anything other than this at number one.
Definitely a great pick. We all know it from Cars. I think Disney made Planes or something. I don't know. I remember they kept making Cars, and they just got worse and worse, and then they made Planes. That was not good. But it was definitely really fun to dive into some songs from my childhood. Like I said, I'm a sucker for nostalgic songs, so this was definitely great. That was it for our playlist essentials, and let's jump into our final segment of the day. Okay, so for our final segment of the day, as always, we're going to be talking about what to expect next. As I'm doing this, Lucas is currently adding some of those nostalgic songs to his playlist. Just thought I'd mention that. Okay, so our next album that we are going to review is one of my picks. As I mentioned, I love the artist Declan McKenna, so I really wanted to review his album, What Do You Think About the Car? It's a really weird album title, but the songs are so great. So super excited to do that one. Unfortunately, we are going on April break next week, so there will be a week break in between this and the next episode. But it's okay, just 1 week break, then we'll be back. Yeah, any final remarks?
Just with nostalgic playlist essentials today, shout out to Northern Elementary. And also shout out to the book 1984. I've been reading, obsessing, and recommending this one. Incredible book. Probably the second best of all time. Just a great story.
I'm pretty sure my English class is going to be starting to read that this week, so I'll definitely keep updated on how I think about that one. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.